Warte! Schmidt mit dem Leutnant. Hartmann, das LMG gibt Feuerschutz. Gib Schmidt dein Gewehr, du Kasper. Freitag, Koch und Slawinski mit mir. Jetzt könnt ihr zeigen, aus welchem Holz ihr geschnitzt seid. Ich kann nichts hören! Marsch!
Right, so Josh and I are going to be playing a game of bolt action at the Elias CC.
Let's do it.
Using my Americans, I was super keen to be playing against Eugene's Germans. We rolled for the battle scenario and thus got to play Breakthrough from the long table edges in a meeting engagement. This effectively meant that whomever destroyed the most enemy units would be the victor, which was quite a good way for me to be improving my skills as a newbie bolt action player.
My German force consisted of a single rifle platoon that had 2 6-man veteran squads, a 10-man regular squad, and a 5-man inexperienced squad. My command squad had 3 veterans, and both my sniper and Panzerschreck teams were also veterans. I had 2 vehicles that could transport my hard-hitting teams to areas I felt they would be most needed.
My platoon consisted of 2 platoons. Noticing that Eugene did not have any armor, my armored platoon, which had a Sherman 75mm and a Greyhound, did give me a sense that I might be able to outgun Eugene's Germans. However, I did feel a little bit nervous, as Eugene's force did have more infantry than mine. My rifle platoon had 2 regular squads of 8 and 10 men, with both my command team and my light motor teams being inexperienced.
As we were only using 500 points each, we played on a smaller 4x4 foot table, and we tried to keep the terrain symmetrical. There was a central double-storied building, which proved key in this game, with the approaches to this building having rough terrain in the form of fields and a wood. Impassable bocage effectively blocked off one side of the table, which would force both players to channel our squads to one side of the table.
I got to choose the edge of the table, and I chose the edge which I felt would get me to the double-story building first, so that I could preserve my forces while inflicting damage on Eugene's to ultimately win the game. I used my Sherman to block the only easy route for Eugene's vehicles through to my half of the table, hoping to slow his advance by forcing his vehicles through the woods where they would be moving a lot slower. This seemed to work well, as Eugene's initial moves were all towards the woods, towards my right. I was certainly pleased with this, as I was then able to advance my Greyhound and white half-track, keep them on ambush with the aim of blasting any Germans that might wish to advance out from the woods.
What's your thoughts? What are you
But you're point blank, so I'm hitting at force.
I'm waiting for your troops there. So I want something to,
You want something to shoot at?
I want something to come out. I want something to shoot at. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm saving this for shooting at that.
Alright. Okay, now remember,
Hitting at force.
sometimes it's also worth putting yourself into ambush. So if you're waiting for something to happen, maybe ambush is the correct command to give that.
Just one pin.
How does it work?
So what you do is, in ambush, you put a dice down, the order dice that says it's on ambush. Then if you see something moving, you can activate your ambush and fire immediately.
Just as he moves, you see.
As he moves, you say, I'm going to shoot at you, and then you can take a shot. Okay.
So you can have more infantry.
Right, so is the vehicle on ambush? Okay.
Where are these two? They're inexperienced. My tank.
Okay.
Yeah, he's our regular.
Knowing that I needed to establish myself in the double-story building first, I advanced my large infantry squad of 10 men into the building, but unfortunately for the squad, Eugene had used his vehicles to get his squads within point-blank range of the building. So no sooner had my 10-man squad ran into the building that Eugene then used 3 of his squads to pour fire into the house and whittle the squad down before successfully assaulting them with the 4th squad, and thereby taking the building from me.
They're going to shoot at the guys in the building. It's a 4 to hit.
That's 2 shots.
You're going to come and save it later.
Because I didn't move.
Okay, so the way it works is when I shoot at you, Normally I'd get a penalty if I moved, but because I've got a assault rifle, I don't get any penalties.
Okay.
So it's just the 4 to hit you,
Yeah.
but I'm at point blank range.
Yeah.
So it's 2s to hit you.
But the cover
Cover comes later. So 2s to hit.
The 50 cal.
Those are all missed.
there's
So it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 hits. So first I got to try and kill him. So you are normally 4s to kill.
If you take out the
4s
gun,
to
then-
kill. So those are misses. Those are misses. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 kills, but you can save them.
how?
So normally, if you are in soft cover, it's 5 or 6 to save. Hard cover, 4, 5 or 6 to save. So you've got like a 50% chance of surviving. So you have saved
Okay, I'll
all but 1.
I'll try. Yeah.
One man didn't die.
So only one guy dies. Not bad. So I hit 5 of them. But the hard cover managed to, it means it's probably just a little bit of brick in your eye or something. Like that, a little bit of brick from the
dust.
ricochet and the dust.
The one guy didn't die. He was like, what's going on?
One guy said, what? And then he got killed, yeah. Okay. Dash was not going to go down without a fight. He's rather determined. Once my squad had won the assault and consolidated to the second floor, Dash opened up with his Greyhound and half-track, peppering the victorious squad with 50 cal machine gun fire. And he let loose with a few rounds of mortar fire into the woods, as my officer had just decided to see if he could pin Dash's 2 open-topped vehicles.
Wir geben 2 Trupps über rechts, ich brauche 2 Mann. Jawohl.
In the following turn, Dash then assaulted my large squad that had taken up a position on the ground floor, but was unable to dislodge my Germans, who were now well entrenched in the building. With Dash's only 2 infantry squads now eliminated, his back was against the wall.
Having lost the central building to Eugene's Germans, I decided I needed to risk a move against Eugene's Panzerschreck team that lay in the ambush behind the blockade. Honestly, I had nothing to lose at this stage. I just went for it.
Soft cover.
I'm going to advance.
Machine gun has 4 shots.
I'm going to advance my Panzerschreck team, and I'm going to keep myself behind cover and take a shot at you. 1 dice. Normally I need a 4, 5 or 6 to hit you, but I moved, so it's 5 or 6. 5 or 6.
Move to hover.
Fortunately for me, his ambush fire missed, and I was able to deal with his 2-man team, firing HE at point blank range with my 75mm gun and Hull MMGs. My Sherman went on to survive the game in spite of Eugene circling around and firing at the rear of my Sherman with a Panzerfaust from one of the teams that had worked its way through the woods and past the main building. With my Sherman's engine damaged and both half-tracks and Greyhound blown to pieces by the other Panzerfaust carrying Germans that advanced out of the building, the game had come to an end.
Okay, Josh, so we've just had a 750 point learning game.
Yes.
So is there anything in particular that you may have learnt from our time together?
I learned a few things, but I think one thing I learned, the main thing I learned is deployment.
Right?
So when you deploy in the initial stages of the game,
Yeah.
it builds the foundation to your game plan and how the
Right.
game is going to flow. So I deployed a few things incorrectly that costed me a few moves. So
Right.
it's like there was a house here,
Right.
so I was closer to it, but I decided to move through the terrain and I costed myself a turn. So
Right.
instead of getting there before you,
Right.
I had to contest with you, in
Yes.
which I lost.
Right. Now in military terms we actually talk about stealing the march.
Yeah.
So as you're moving, as you're maneuvering in a game like this, you've always got to think where you need to get to and can you get there first.
Yes.
So you're saying then, in deploying you lost the opportunity to grab that house.
Yes. And I positioned my Sherman here. So the thing is that I'd say, it had its pros and cons. It stopped him from getting through.
Yeah.
But at the same time, because I put it there first,
Yeah.
so he had time to see and think about how to tackle my Sherman.
Yeah.
So if I had put it there later, then maybe he would have gotten a bit nervous,
Right.
and then after not been able to think of how to counter
Yeah.
it, or you might have not been comfortable.
Right. So Dash, in the beginning of the game, the very first unit that you brought onto the table, that he brought onto the table, was the Sherman. And I was telling you at the time that it actually gave me peace. Once I knew where your Sherman was, I could then decide on how the rest of my turn was going to go.
Yeah.
That's why sometimes it's best to keep a secret weapon or a powerful weapon, hold it back to keep your opponent guessing, keep him wondering what's going to be happening next.
It's like chess. I mean, chess and bolt action are a bit similar.
Yeah?
You can't just develop your queen in the early stages. You got to wait.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
To see where it's going to be most useful.
Yeah.
Okay, so I stole the march on you because you deployed into the woods
Yeah.
and was then limited in your movement. And also, you gave away where your big weapon was going to be,
Yeah.
which allowed me then to plan my game plan around where that Sherman was.
I have to think how you think to win.
Yeah, you got to try and put yourself in your opponent's mind. And you're a chess player, right?
Yeah.
So you know about that, okay?
Yeah.
I think you're going to make for a very good bolt action player, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, because of that ability to think like that. Did you enjoy yourself?
Yeah. It
That's
was a
great.
very nice learning game. I learned a lot. Thank you.
That's great. You're welcome. Thanks, guys. Thank you for watching another episode of Lessons from the Front and this learning game with Dash. Thank you too to Dash for helping me put the voice recordings together, and we hope that you enjoyed the contents of this video. Dash and I would also like to thank the Elias CC for the use of this really great facility. Until next time, happy gaming!